Hi, my name is Luyren, and here's a quick Stencyl tip. Learn directions and angles. Stencyl's orientation of the X and Y axis, as well as angle values, may not be intuitive for new users. Angles are especially relevant when you want to move actors towards the mouse or other actors, or to create projectiles relative to a rotating actor. In this video, I'll explain all of that and provide some code for reference. Let's get started. If you've studied functions at some point, you're familiar with the X and Y graph where you plot points. X is the horizontal position and Y is the vertical position. In mathematics, positive X values are to the right and negative to the left, while positive Y values are up and negative are down. Stencyl sets the origin point of reference, meaning the x0, y0 point, at the top left corner of the scene. You can see that in the x-axis, the positive values are within the scene bounds, and negative are outside, so right and left respectively. It makes sense, and that's how Stencyl works. But the y-axis ends up with negative values within scene bounds, and the positive values outside. That's why in Stencyl, the y-axis has positive values going down, and negative values going up. If an actor has a bigger y position than another, it will be lower. If an actor has positive y speed, it's moving down. If an actor has negative y speed, it's moving up. If an actor has a bigger x position than another, it will be further right. If an actor has positive x speed, it's moving right. If an actor has negative x speed, it's moving left. This logic also applies to the push actor towards direction block. Here it accepts an x direction and y direction. A value of 0 means the actor doesn't move in that direction. In a value of 1, the actor goes to the right on the x-axis and down on the y-axis. In a value of -1, the actor goes to the left on the x-axis and up on the y-axis. Angles have a similar premise. When I learned about angles, 0 degrees usually pointed towards the right, and increasing the angle moved it upward, counterclockwise. Since the origin is on the top left corner of the scene in Stencyl, an angle of 0 degrees still points to the right, but to increase the angle, you go clockwise from there, meaning 90 degrees is pointing down, 180 is pointing left, and 270 is pointing up. You can use negative numbers, and those will move counterclockwise. By default, all actors start pointing towards an angle of 0 degrees, meaning to the right. If you want your actor to visually point towards an angle of your choice, you need its animation pointing towards the right as well. This is a good time to also quickly go over an actor's origin point. The origin point is the anchor point from which your actor will rotate, grow, and shrink. You set one origin point per animation, the default being center origin. There are several quick options forming 9 points on your actor, like a number pad, and you can specify a custom origin point. The custom points start on the actor's top left corner with x0, y0. There is a block to move an actor towards an angle instead of direction, as well as a block to point an actor towards an angle. That raises a lot of possibilities, and with that a lot of questions that I've seen time and time again, especially from users making top-down games. So let's go over the most common challenges when dealing with angles. To preface this, dealing with angles and positions involves trigonometry. I can tell you trigonometry is related to right triangles and circles, but I'm in no way qualified to explain more than that. All I'll do here is show you the block combinations to use. To determine the angle between 2 points, use the A10-2 block. For the Y point, set it to your target's Y center minus your origin's Y center. For the X point, use the X centers of your target and origin. You then convert the result into degrees. If you want the angle away from a target, just change the order in the subtraction. Note that in this block, the Y point comes first. And here I'm rounding the results for display purposes. As for a practical example, let's say you have an enemy that moves towards the player. The origin here is your enemy, and target is your player. I'll add this code to the enemy, so the block will read A10-2 Y center of target minus Y center of self, X center of target minus X center of self as degrees. Place that in the push actor towards angle block, set the push force, and add a speed limit. You also need to check if the target has value and is alive. If you want the enemy to face the player, it uses the same operation, but using the point actor towards angle block. For a small optimization, store the A10-2 operation result in a number attribute and use that in the blocks. To make an actor face the direction of its movement, simply place its Y and X speed in the A10-2 block. If you want the actor to keep its direction when it stops, make sure to add the following if condition. Facing and moving towards the mouse is the same principle, with one small difference. The position of the mouse is always relative to the screen. X of mouse 0 and Y of mouse 0 are always the top left corner of the screen, even if the camera moves. That means you need to convert your mouse position to scene position, which is done by adding the X and Y of the camera to the mouse's X and Y position. The rest of the attend to operation is the same. Touch controls and mouse controls share the same blocks, so this code works on mobile devices. To create actors relative to other actors, the operation usually goes position of self plus an offset, for example when creating projectiles. That works for non-rotating actors. But for rotating actors, you end up getting this. The actor may be rotating, but its X and Y positions plus the offsets are still the same. To get a consistent position for rotating actors, you'll need the sine and cosine functions in what I call radial position in my resource packs. The idea is to find a point in a circumference around the actor that follows that actor's current rotation angle, hence radial. I'll be using projectiles as an example in this explanation going forward. We want to first create the projectile, and then immediately after set its X and Y centers, targeting the last created actor. This will give a consistent position. Let's begin with the X position. X center of self plus radius times cosine of the direction of self plus angle as degrees. Breaking it down. X center is the center of your actor, from where the circle will start. Radius is the radius of the circle, or the distance from the actor's center to create your projectile. Direction of self accounts for the rotation of the actor. Angle is a deviation from the actor's direction to position the projectiles, used to find the point along the circumference. If this is 0, the projectile is created exactly in front of the actor. If you increase this number, it moves clockwise along the circumference. And by decreasing this number, it moves counterclockwise. Lastly, as degrees will convert the cosine to an angle in degrees. On the Y position, it is exactly the same aside from two notable changes. It uses Y center of self, and it uses the sine function. Angle and radius must be the same values in both cases. The ideas behind this video are the same I used in my AI in Combat resource pack when making the mouse controls and several AI options, which you can check in the sample game. The pack is available for purchase, and there is a free demo version you can use. This video should give you a better understanding on how those parts of the pack work. That's it for this quick tip. You now know how to properly use directions and angles in Stencyl, and have examples of the necessary code to make top-down games with several rotating elements. I'll leave links in the description if you want to learn more about Stencyl, my itch.io page to get to the resources I've made, and to my Twitter if you want updates on what I'm currently working on. Leave a comment if there are any Stencyl topics you want me to cover. Suggestions are always welcome. Thank you so much for watching.